20 minutes, and it takes a lot of control to just start. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, trigger warning, spoiler alert, yes, look out, I just slid into your podcast machine. You are experiencing a DM sliding version of the Tom Kelly Show. This is the podcast where me, Tom Kelly, a 40-something-year-old comedian owns the midlife crisis. I own the quarter-life crisis. This is the podcast where the offbeat come to meet. And if you have a chance, do me a favor right now. If you're new to the podcast, go hit subscribe right now. By the way, you're checking your DMs while I'm launching a damn show.
No, I'm looking for a client that I work with who is obsessed with DMs.
Ooh, good. You work on that while I do the long intro then. Yeah. Perfect. So I'm here. So I'm a comedian. Do me a favor. Show love where love can be shown. Go rate the podcast. Hit subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube, or iHeart, or however you get your podcast. Hit subscribe. Share it with a friend. Because here's the deal, people. The more people who listen to this, the bigger my ego, the more I want to do this. And I'm doing the show for free. I'm not one of those losers on Patreon begging for $20 a week out of your hard-earned money. No, I am here just trying to entertain you guys. Gosh darn it. I am here with Kristen Carney, who's on the phone, but she's on the phone for you guys right now, trying to find an example. Kristen Carney is a stand-up comedian who I met at a comedy club here in New York City, looked her up on Instagram or whatever, and it turned out she is known as the Banter coach. You can find her at kristenandchill.com, and while she's still looking for a second, I'll tell you what she does. She coaches people in the art of banter, and man, she is expensive. There's a banter session for $225, a banter bundle for $650, ghost texter for $275, and if you listen to the last episode of this podcast, she's good. She seems to know what she's talking about. Actually, what qualifies, besides being a comedian, in concise sentences, what qualifies you to coach people in banter?
I'm funny.
All right, there you go. That was concise. All right, and that's a big part of banter. It's not just being interesting.
I've always been able to make people laugh in conversation more so than I could really on stage.
So funny. I don't know if funny is something you learn. I think it's just something you got.
Yeah.
Now, you are a banter coach. Is teaching banter the equivalent of teaching being funny?
So I don't say to my clients, I will teach you how to be funny, because I think funny is an innate quality. So I tell them I will teach you how to be witty, clever, charming, and charismatic. If you happen to figure out how to be funny throughout that process, that's awesome. But no, I will not teach you how to be funny.
Okay. Now, we were talking before on a lot of your business seems to be based on teaching guys how to date. Now, and trying to teach guys how to date through dating apps like Tinder and Bumble. Is that fair?
Yep.
Okay. Now, you are also teaching me that there is a difference when you're trying to strike up a conversation with a woman or a new person. There's a difference between matching on Tinder and sliding in cold into a DM.
Yeah.
What is the difference?
The difference is when a woman's online dating, she's looking to talk to men. When a woman's on her Instagram, she's not saying, hi, I'm single, come talk to me. So you have a barrier there that's not there on dating apps.
Okay, boom. I like that. All right, so here we go. First one of the day. So that's a great one. So let's see if I can find what I've said. I think you're going to find me screwing a lot of things up and telling me not to do this stuff. So I matched with this person who is a Olympic rower.
She can kick my ass?
Yes, that's my type. I like the types that can kick both of our asses. Now, I did not match with her, but she came up on Bumble, but put her Instagram name on. Now, let's pause for a second.
That's a trap.
I think is it a trap? Because I haven't had anybody really talk to me from that.
Yes.
What is that for? What kind of trap is that? Why are they putting out that bait?
They want Instagram followers. It's just a marketing scheme for more Instagram followers. So I purposely leave my Instagram out of my dating bio because I am online dating, because I don't want guys to think I just want them to follow me on Instagram.
Okay.
Because then changes the vibe from the get-go. So when you see a girl with her Instagram, yes, she could be saying, you can check out more of my stuff, but really what she's saying is, go follow me, slide into my DMs, make my ego feel good. I won't answer, but I will have a new follower. And maybe every now and then, if you comment on my post, I'll give it a thumbs up. It's like throwing you crumbs so that they can feel good about themselves.
So I have fallen for this trap like a little rat over and over and over again.
So many guys do. It's actually, I'm like, I thought guys were smarter than this, but every guy does the exact same thing. And I've had girls show me their inbox, and it's, hey, we matched, or it's not matched. And
well,
you
it's
actually,
not even matched. And there you go.
You
it's
made
not
the mistake
matched.
too, actually, when you said it. Yeah. You said I matched with this girl. You didn't match. So it's, you saw the girl on a dating app, and then you wrote to her.
And she has yet to reply.
Unsolicited.
Well,
it is unsolicited.
I'm going to say it was broadly solicited. Whether or not it was genuine.
It's not genuine.
Okay, I'll say this. Ingenuinely solicited.
Yes.
I'll take
that. Yes. Like the most insincere person saying, oh, you should come over for dinner sometime. And they absolutely don't mean it. That's what their Instagram listed in their profile means.
Okay, I'm trying to find. So it's just funny. Usually the internet is just showing me thirst trap upon thirst trap of women I want to date, and it's just showing me all married friends right now. It's showing me all baby pictures, this damn thing. So let's pick. So like right now, let's go back with the woman I just showed you. The woman I just showed you, I decided to reply in public instead of I said, hey, saw you on Bumble, and commented in public to make sure she saw it. On a post.
Yeah.
Strike one.
Did she respond?
No.
Yeah, strike one.
Strike 1, 2, and 3 probably.
Yeah, because now you're in that box. You're the guy who was thirsty, quote unquote, if you want to talk like the cool kids talk.
Okay.
So you looked thirsty because you didn't match with her online, or you didn't match with her on the app.
Right.
So you were so thirsty, it's like you're in the desert and you're searching for water. You're like, where's the water? So I'm going to climb, or I'm going to drag myself through the sand to her Instagram page and hope there's water there. And then you show up there and there's still no water. And you're like, oh my God, now I'm even thirstier. So I'll do even more pathetic things because I'm even thirstier from the climb over here.
Okay. So you've talked. I mean, it's funny. I hate to say that your first banter tip is, Tom, you're bantering with the wrong people.
Yeah. Well,
or on the wrong platform.
You want to banter with a willing participant, but you want to make that participant willing. So you might want to work on your profile so that she may find you as someone she would want to match with.
So, like, I'm looking at her profile first, or I'm not even looking at her profile. I'm looking at the DM suggestion. And I think this is an easy warning that at least 2 of our listeners need. Instagram is suggesting 2 conversation starters. Conversation starter 1 is, anyone available to chat? And conversation starter 2, I have a question, can you help?
Okay, so the worst thing you can do is say, I have a question, and not ask the question. Just ask the GD question. I get that so much in my DMs where it'll be like, hey, I have a question. And it's like, okay. So there's just an extra message that I'm replying to. If you just sent me the question, I may have found it interesting enough to respond. But if you say, I have a question, you're just delaying the inevitable of this conversation going flat. So you're just kind of wasting the person's time. It's like, just ask the question.
Okay, now I'm like, it's funny. Now I want to, okay. So like, here's one. This is from a girl I knew in high school. She was 2 years behind me, and this is at the time when I'm a senior, she's a sophomore. And oh my God, you pedophile, you checked out someone 2 years younger than you. But I would say about 10 years after graduation, maybe 15 years after graduation, she sends me a note saying, hey, Tom, and she's married at the time, has all these pictures where she grew up to be a goddamn bikini model, for real. And she sends me an unsolicited note saying, I had a crush on you in high school. And it even showed me a picture of my yearbook, because everybody in the school got the yearbooks back then.
You're like, I would have preferred the bikini picture, but I guess the yearbook picture is fine.
She sends me a picture of me with little hearts around it. And anyway, speeding through the story, I say, gosh, you know what? I kind of always thought you were pretty too, but you were too young. Since you've separated from your husband, I'd love to meet up with you. And then I'd say a day or two later, I was unfriended because she decided to get back with her husband.
Yeah.
We matched on Bumble. And then it becomes, we have a decent conversation. And then we kind of slow conversation. I'm like, you know what? She lives a few hours away. I'm going to own the weirdness now, but I tend to fall for taller women. And I was on Bumble and basically I basically swiped right on every woman over 6 foot tall in the United States.
Holy.
Well, yeah, and I matched with
WNBA players in there?
I love WNBA players. Yeah, it sounds stupid, but actually, the girl who broke my heart used to play pro ball. I dated one pro ball player. I admire female athletes for a few reasons. I admire female athletes who are our age and maybe a few years younger, but not a lot of years younger, because I do think there is a generational mind shift there too.
Yeah, definitely.
I think women who were athletic when I was a kid were not put on pedestals. They were outsiders, yet they kind of had, God, I almost hate to say the word superhero, but it was like, hey, if you were good at a sport, nobody gave a poop. They played for the love of the game. There was just like a kind of romance to it, whereas I think nowadays, now that the WNBA is so celebrated and women's soccer is so celebrated, I mean, it's still a little bit alternative, but it was kind of like, old school baseball, like when you hear stories of baseball players from the 50s that had to take jobs in the off season. I love professional female athletes.
Yeah, there's some grit to that.
There's a grit to it that I like.
Yeah.
And that said, I am in love with Brittany Griner, who's in prison in Russia, because she had to go to Russia and wind up in prison to afford to be a basketball player. God bless you. If you ever break up with your wife, Brittany Griner, and get out of prison, call me. That said...
And stop being a lesbian.
And stop being a lesbian, as if that were the only thing holding this back. But that said, yeah, that's my type. But anyway, this is where you get into... So we transitioned onto Columbus Day weekend, and I wrote, hey, do you get a 4-day weekend? And she goes, no, for what? And then I wrote Columbus Day. And then just seen, never responded again. I mean, obviously you let it go.
You let it go if you want to have dignity.
Oh, and I don't. I'm over dignity.
Okay, well then you don't let it go. I recommend, what I say is giving it, the old school lawnmowers where you'd pull once, you'd pull twice, try to get it started. You pull 3 times. And then if it doesn't take after the 3rd time, the lawnmower's kind of screwed.
Right. That's
what I advise when it comes to your attempts. So it's like you pull the string once to start the conversation, the lawnmower, whatever have you. If it doesn't take, that's okay. It's an old lawnmower. I'm going to try it again. Didn't take. All right. Well, now I'm starting to kind of put my, my dignity on the line. I may just leave it there, go get a riding lawnmower that I paid for. Or I'll give the old lawnmower one more try, but your neighbor from next door is being like, dude, just get a new freaking lawnmower.
Well, and there you go. So here's my problem is I don't want to do the heart wants, but the heart wants, blah, blah, blah. And I think at the end of the day, deep down, if we're being really real, I'm starting to talk about this on the podcast lately, is maybe deep down I've been happiest being single all along, and I just like the unrealistic chase.
Yes, I think I'm in a very similar boat as you, because when something rolls around that's really doable in a good situation, I'm like, I'm not really into him. But if the guy is, not looking for a long-term relationship, I'm obsessed.
Well, and I'll even go a step beyond that. I love you for not loving me. I don't want to join any club that has me in a member, and I don't want any woman that would have my member in her. And there's the little horn. Yeah, there you go. But
that's the heart of a comedian. There's something wrong with us
There is, and yeah, that's a whole other story. But now, and I'll going back to the dating thing of I like what I can't have. I've always done long distance relationships because I like the distance, I like this, I like that, and I think I kind of like the idea of somebody who doesn't smother me. Therefore, I enjoy slightly unrealistic professional people.
Same.
That said, put that in a box. I used to have a slogan, and I tried to work it into the act, twice persistent, 3 times stalking, and then I will keep adding you on Facebook until you accept me. It got a little creepy as time went on, or that kind of put that out. But I'm kind of at, with some people, instead of twice persistent, 3 times stalking, I'm at 5 times blocked, 6 times restraining order. You know,
Well, I'm glad I'm here alone in your apartment with you.
No, then there you
safe.
go. No, you're very safe because you showed interest. You're out. I no longer.
Right.
The minute you crossed the threshold into this apartment, I no longer found you attractive.
Right.
That's the. Oh my God, what am I? That's the when something goes against the irony, but there's something better. There's a better word, folks.
That's
write
the
in.
rub.
The what?
That's the rub.
That's the rub. Damn it. But so anyway, but that's I guess. I mean, it sounds stupid, but I am actually processing it with you saying it is. Where's the difference between starting cold and just realizing they don't want to talk to you? I mean, with Instagram, if somebody puts their Instagram name on the outside chance they do want a genuine connection, do you go straight for the DMs or do you comment in public?
You go straight for the DMs. And the best thing to do, because the comment in public will get their attention. And I actually had one guy, this has worked once for me in my Instagram. I don't know how this guy and I matched. He was in California. I don't have my settings.
I feel, because it's funny, I have this feeling that I have met you before. Could you have possibly been on one of the dating apps and put your Instagram name on?
I usually never put my Instagram
Okay, then
name on.
It's not. All right, but there is.
Because I also don't want the guys to see what I do. Because it's
really.
Yeah, because then it will go down this rabbit hole of like, oh, she's kind of weird. Like I don't want the guys to think I'm super weird off the bat. I want them to slowly, learn that I'm a whack job. But so I keep my Instagram off of there. But the one time that this happened where a guy commented publicly on an Instagram post of mine, I saw him and he looked, I saw the comment and I looked at his picture and he looked just like a guy I had a crush on. And so I wrote to him in his DMs because I was like, oh my God, this guy's super cute. And he just wrote on my thing. But usually the guy that, and it's not just all about cute. It's about, feeling like, ooh, that's someone that I could be into. I've never once had a guy comment publicly that I've gone, yes, that's someone I would date, except this one guy. So I wrote to him privately, and he didn't see the message because we're not following each other. So then I ended up writing to him publicly. It turns out he's like 13 years younger than me or something like that. And he was in California. So like it wasn't going to go anywhere. But it did get my attention, but it had to be the right combination. Because if it was a different guy who had commented what he commented, all he commented on one of my posts, it was like 3 posts in. It wasn't the first one. It wasn't super deep down. Because going like way deep and commenting on one way deep in the feed, that's like, oh, that's creepy.
I also feel like not going for the first one means your fresh traffic isn't getting it. Like, you don't have to worry about mom seeing it because mom's already seen the third picture.
Right. So this is a safe territory. If you're going picture number 3, number 4. So all he said was, hey, would you want to go on a date with me sometime? He didn't try to start up conversation.
It was a comment out loud in public.
And I was like, that's
And he
ballsy.
swung for the fences.
He swung for the fences, and I found him attractive. And I literally wrote in his DMs, yes, I want to go on a date sometime.
And then how did that last? How did that work out?
And then I found out he was like 23 and lived in San Diego. And I'm like, wait, what? I was like, first of all, I'm in New York, and I have my age range set to like 33 or 34 plus, up to like 46 or something like that. So, some kid all the way out in San Diego who's 23 years old. obviously, So we had a fun banter. We had fun banter, and then that was it. But he really swung for the fences. He did it the right way. I thought it was super cool, and no one's ever done it like that before. Usually they'll just comment saying like, "Hey, I saw you on Bumble," or "Hey, I saw you here."
And that's weak.
And it's weak. You want to go bold. So the bolder the better, but you want to go bold in the right way.
Okay, because I was going to say, because there's got to be a difference between being bold, and I'm going to apply this to all forms of internet banter. Where's the line between bold and creepy?
Confidence. So the creepy guy is the guy that you can sense hesitation. Even if he goes bold, when you look at his profile, there's something off about it. He's not very confident in his own Instagram page. But if you're full on comfortable in your own skin and you don't hesitate, that's going to be the go bold that can work. It won't always work, but your chances will be better. But your presentation in your own Instagram has to be strong, and it has to also be public, because I get comments all the time from guys on my Instagram who are private. I can't see their picture.
Yeah, see, I don't like that.
Yeah, so I'm like, I don't know. You're asking me out, and I have no idea who you are. I can't see your picture. Your picture's this big, and so sometimes I'll screenshot and then zoom in really close to see if I can see his face at all. But I want to write back, and I don't, just because I don't want to be a jerk, but I want to write back like, why do you think I would say yes to a date with you? I first of all didn't swipe right on you on the Instagram, or on the Instagram. I'm my dad.
On the Insta.
Are you on the Instagram?
On the Facebook.
I didn't swipe right on you on the app, or maybe I just didn't see you yet, but most likely I didn't swipe right on you on the app. Now you have a private profile with maybe a picture of you just at the top that I can't see, and you offer me nothing in terms of something that I could latch onto, and you simply say, "Hey, saw you on Tinder, wanted to see if you'd go out sometime." So what you want to do is, have your profile open so she can see who you are. I'm not going to friend request you or Instagram request you just to look at your pictures to then reject you. So you have to have it open. And then you also want to do something bold, obviously, like, hey.
Dick pic.
Sometimes they're not bold. Dick pic, I was just going to joke, like sometimes they're not bold because their penises are not large enough to be bold.
Okay, no, but all joking aside, and obviously America, D pic, not a good thing to do, and do not do it. But I do think dick pic is an allegory for swing for the fences, if not the action. I mean, it had to work at some point. Like, there had to be somebody on earth who sent a dick pic and then told all his friends she loved it. And I've had people, without getting too into it, I've had guys send me dick pics. I'm a very I'm attractive and seemingly fluid person. I've had guys send me dick pics, and I'm like, no.
Okay, so you're a total anti-dick pic.
Oh, I am anti it, and to be honest with you, I thought it would be funny if I ever got one, and when I got my first unsolicited D pic, there wasn't even a joke. It was like
kind of upsetting.
It was, yeah, that's the word. It was. I did not even get the fuck, like there was no it was upsetting because it was not solicited. It was from someone who I thought was just being kind and had a crush on me. And this is the same story twice with two different guys. And it was just like, you got it. And I understand, and I don't want to say the violation. I'm trying to tone down I don't want to say rape. I'm trying to find the word. It's like they put the violated, the ass in assault. Like, it's not really assault. They're just making an ass of themselves. Yeah, but I do think there is something about that confidence. Oh, there certainly is. But now, how do you be that confident without being that creepy? Because I guess, using your line from before, are people who send things as racy as a D pic, whether it be an actual D pic or something that strongly worded, is their confidence genuine? Like, is that, like,
Yeah.
I feel like, are they creepy, or is that such bad confidence that they do something creepy?
You know, it's okay. So I have to be honest. It's hard to keep myself in professional mode versus personal mode. I think dick pics are like a no-go, but I've gotten a couple dick pics from the right guys where I'm like,
But
I kind of liked that he sent me a dick pic, which I don't want to admit.
okay. Let's pause for a minute, because you're not the first girl I've ever, or first woman I've ever met to tell me they didn't hate the D pic.
Yeah, like
But
girls
was
are
it
supposed
solicited?
to say no. Well, it was there was
But there had to be a
there was
runway.
context. Yes, there was context, and so it was like spoken about ish, but I wasn't completely sure if it was like going to be sent or not. And then it was sent, and I was pleasantly surprised, but it was not completely out of the blue. So the confidence was
Okay.
maybe it was out of the blue balls. Maybe
And there's the
that's-
joke we've been fishing for. Hold on, I'll get you the little.
Thank you.
There you go.
Thank you. But yeah, no, there was lead into it. If he just randomly sent me a dick
It wasn't
pic,
just
it
a
wouldn't
cold
have been
hi,
the
I'm
same.
Bob. Boom.
Yeah, no, that won't work. No matter who you are, that won't work. There's got to be some level, because we were bantering. This guy and I, we had great banter. It was like right from the get-go, it was flowing like Niagara Falls. And so it was like he was feeling the confidence. He naturally is very confident, and it worked. But again, it's like all those pieces have to be together in the puzzle. If one puzzle piece is missing, it's going to fall flat, and eventually your boner will fall flat because she's not going to respond. So it's a tricky thing. I've never really talked to, like, the guys that I work with, I don't talk to them about how to send a dick pic. So this is all just more my own personal.
And again, I don't want to
I'm like, you could just send a picture of your face, like the guys that I work with that I
No,
don't
but
like, and that's a dick pic. But
yeah, no, but I don't want to sound like I was looking for that advice, but there is something to be said about that. Or is it? Or I thought it related to something you were. It was a joke that we went down actually a thoughtful road on.
It was, yeah. No, I know what you're saying. It's basically like bold. How do you be bold and not be creepy? Bold and creepy don't always go hand in hand. So you don't always have to worry about being creepy. So like I said before, if you present yourself in your profile as someone who is very confident, who has his shit together, who I'm not saying you have to be great looking, but you maybe dress well, you look like you have a busy life, you look like you have things going on in your world. If that is who you are and how you present yourself in your Instagram, you're going to increase the chances of her responding to your unsolicited DM, but you're also going to increase the likelihood of her responding to your unsolicited dick pic. However, that is not as high as her responding to your just plain old message.
Okay. Now, I don't
If
want
that
to
makes
turn.
sense.
Now we're good. We're at another half hour, and we're not going to turn this into a three-parter. I'm going to go long for this one for a minute. I just saw you got a match on Bumble while we're sitting here.
No, I think I'm just getting a text from a guy that I have
something.
a Bumble notification.
Yeah, let's see what the Bumble notification is, because then I may, if you don't mind me looking over your shoulder, and if.
But it's not always a match. Sometimes it will just be like, you got
note
super liked.
Okay.
Let's see. Okay, no, I got a message.
Okay. What did now? Would you mind, without giving it away? Is it
Yeah.
a picture of someone you like?
He's attractive.
Okay. What is, and you're on, I see about 5 messages there without me actually reading and putting
Right.
on, and don't get me wrong, it's not that I'm not trying to read, I don't have my reading glasses on. So I'm not
This is
really
middle-aged
respecting your privacy.
show.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
is middle-aged here. So that said, I see 3 yellow bubbles, 4 white ones. The white ones are him. Mm-hmm. Okay. You started the banter.
I did.
What was your first banter line with him?
So I went more flirty, sexual than I usually do because I didn't know what else to say,
Can I read it
and
in
I
your
was
voice?
lazy. Yeah, and it's not even that, but
You pull off the deeply unbuttoned shirt very well. Wow, big swing.
because he had a shirt unbuttoned down to here. Normally, guys who do
May
that
I look at his
can't pull it
pictures for a
off.
second?
Yes.
And we won't screen cap
He
them.
presents, I think, more attractive than he really is, but there's the unbuttoned shirt picture.
Yeah, and I don't want to. Okay, by the way, any thought that when you were flirting a second ago or made the joke about coming into the apartment, yeah, definitely I never had a shot with you or vice versa. And then holy crap, he's wearing a donkey mask.
And so he's not necessarily my type, but you know.
I mean, this guy was at the fire festival and still looks for a refund.
Right. Yeah. So
Okay.
he's probably douchey, but it's more like I'm alone, I'm bored, and so we matched, and he's kind of cute. So
Okay.
I'll give it a go for a couple
Can I
lines.
read this? Because if this
I don't
is
even know what I don't know.
Oh, you've
what,
replied to him once. May I reply? Okay, let me.
I don't know what his reply is, but
Okay.
yeah. If
So
you
you replied. You pulled off the deeply unbuttoned shirt very well.
Yeah.
He replies, "Thank you, thank you. How's your deeply unbuttoned shirt game?"
Yeah, so we started sexual
like
right off
that.
the bat. Not normally. That was because he felt like a douchebag to me, and I was like, I'm not going to connect with this guy emotionally, so I'll just kind of go the sexual route. But that's very rare.
Because I love your reply to him being a douche. I'm
Yeah.
going to read that. So he says, "How's your deeply unbuttoned shirt game?"
So dumb.
And then she says, "A lot less hairy than yours, but just as good or better." Now, I feel like there was a delay, and you sent that second one later.
No, that was right. That was
All
boom,
in the same
boom.
shot.
Yep.
Okay.
I like to send things in separate lines because separate lines are easier to read than large chunks of text.
Well, you know what it is? That's the comedian in you talking. But
It's
what you don't
timing.
realize is it's also now setting off their notifications. Beep, beep,
Yeah,
beep.
and I don't care. A guy that I actually dated 2 years ago, who I'm kind of hung up on right now, who's got a girlfriend, and I'm kind of heartbroken. He was like, "Oh my God, stop sending them all individually as texts." And I'm like, "That's my thing. That's what I do." And I kind of stuck to it, and it kind of made me stand out.
All right. And then he replies, "Ha ha, less hair, probably a good thing, / but hey, rock it if you got it. Doing anything fun tonight?" And here, ladies and gentlemen, is where I think Kristen should send this man, Chris, a dick pic. No.
I should.
That would be, no, there you go.
I
That was
should.
the punchline I was hoping to end on, and you just gave me a look like it was serious. But I think I'm not
Well,
going to.
it's just because I don't want you to reveal the audience that I actually have a dick.
Wow, that's the punchline I wasn't pushing for either. There you go. So now, will you reply for that, or will you make him wait now?
I'm not excited about him, so I'll probably reply maybe tomorrow.
But is that also the same move that makes him want you more? Waiting.
Probably, and that's why I get guys that I don't want wanting me.
Okay. I
So
can't believe I'm asking this 33 minutes into the end of a two-parter. But you went through the qualities of banter before, that it was smart. What were the qualities of banter? Quick, because I'm going to add a third.
Opinions, wittiness, cleverness, knowledge, getting to know somebody, having some sort of escalation.
Okay, because then I'm going to add
teasing.
one. Escalation, and then after that, is timely also a quality of it?
Timely, yes, definitely. If we're referring to banter online, yes, timely. I mean, in person, obviously, it has to be timely. There's no choice.
And we have banter on the show.
Right.
Or a conversation, whatever. So we've had conversation, but for banter, it's got to be like in stand-up, you get a punchline every 15 seconds. Do you have to reply every 15 minutes or something?
If you really like the person, yes, what you want is momentum. So you want to grab them. So right now, if I really like this guy, I would be like, oh shit, when's this podcast going to end so I can reply to him? Because what you want to do is you want to get that live in real time back and forth. If you're waiting the 12 hours, 24 hours, there's a real lag, and all of a sudden she's bored and there's no momentum, and she's off interested now in a new guy that she swiped right on. So generally, yes, timing is very important, or timeliness is important for the guy to catch the girl. Obviously for the girl to catch the guy, but the guy to catch the girl. So if you send her a message and 24 hours later she writes back and you get the notification, boom, you write back right then because you catch her at her phone because you want to have this back and forth.
So men should reply right when they get
away.
the message.
But once they
But
get
be
the phone,
patient when that she may not reply right away.
yes. But once you get the phone number and things have now established themselves and there's a little bit of a rapport, then you can back off and not reply right away. But when it comes to just matching, you want to have that back and forth so that you can get her on your side and get to know her enough to where she'll be willing to give you her phone number. Once you get the phone number, that's when you can slow down and take your time and be like, oh, I'm a little busy. I can't reply for an hour because I'm, at my weightlifting class, whatever. It's all games. And I hate to be promoting the games, but I've been doing this for 5 years, and it's like when you see what works and what doesn't work, you really realize, wow, there is a game to it. There is a game, and people want the game as much as they say they don't want the game.
Okay, so I just matched with somebody I don't think I'm into. I did the mass swiping on the right.
Yep.
And yeah, and I feel like a jerk. Anything I'm going to say, I'm going to feel like a jerk. But
you're on Bumble, so she might,
she wrote first. She wrote first already.
She did write already.
And she just wrote, "Hi Tom, how was your week?" Is that banter?
No, that's not banter, and that's what I teach against. So when men are using Bumble, that's when women are opening. So what you have to do is you have to take control of the tone of the conversation. So you just switch it. You can just do an easy switch instead of saying like, oh, it was good. How was yours? That's generic and boring. Just to slightly switch the tone to, to taper over now to more of a playful tone. You can simply say like, pretty boring until, I just got your message. Something like that. That's not what you always want to say, but that's just something to start the tonality out in a different route than politeness. You're being slightly playful. You can go more creative. I just don't know what's in her profile.
I just hit unmatch instead.
See, in the unmatched thing, that actually Is
that hurtful, what I just did there?
It's hurtful. So I know we're limited on time, but
No. Well, let's keep going. F it, and then we'll go James Altucher style and just let it be a 2-hour podcast.
Okay. So if we look at online dating as like one big collective, we have to serve the collective. So if you unmatch somebody that did nothing wrong, or maybe said a line that you didn't like, what you're doing is you're adding negativity to their experience of online dating, which is then going to add negativity to perhaps the next person she matches with, because maybe she'll be like, you know what, I'm going to unmatch this person because that person unmatched me. And then we basically are taking baggage from one another from the apps, and we're spreading it around. So the unmatching is basically almost like having a bad dad growing up, and you're like, man, I wasn't loved, and then you put that on other people.
But
and
there's also, so I've had that put on me to the point where I am a bitter, and I think I am a bitter online dater, and bitter's a strong word. Broken is a better word. Uninterested. Dead inside, whatever you want to call it.
Jaded.
But there's something to be said about if I really care. What do I owe her and she owe me?
Nothing except to the, like I said again, the collective.
Okay.
Like the entire experience.
Because you're right,
for
I have gone that way before. I'm like I had somebody once wrote me a note, and then she took 3 volleys to say, hey, just so you know, I was traveling through New York, but thought you'd be a great guy. Good luck to the next lucky lady. And she happened to hit me during a dark moment during COVID. And I'm like, what the F would you write me this note? Why would you write me a note to tell me you're not going to write me a note? This doesn't make me feel better.
Right.
If anything, it was like a 3-sentence, 24-hour cock tease here where I had hope for a minute, and then you're writing me a well-written rejection letter.
It's a John Deere letter before you were even a couple.
Not a John Deere. That's a tractor. John Doe.
Yeah, that's my Dumb and Dumber.
Dear John.
Dumb and Dumber did that to me.
Yeah.
Because they say John Deere.
Okay. But it is a John Deere tractor. But it is a Dear John moment.
And you were never the John.
I was never your John.
Right.
And you were perfect. I mean, on the paper, she was perfect and had a beach house somewhere. And it's like, I don't need a 2-page rejection letter.
Well, I've gotten rejection letters, and I just got a big rejection letter, and I did something really bold because I went out with this guy who so again, I'm not adding to the quote unquote collective in a positive way all the time either. But so I matched with this guy about 6 months ago. And when I matched with him, he seemed interesting and someone someone I wanted to go out with. But at the same time, I matched with someone else that I was really, really, really into.
I hate that too. Oh, God.
So I let this one guy go for 6 months. And then I was like, I left him on red. He wrote, hey, because I was going to not be here. So he was like, let me know when you're back. And so he's like, hey, are you back? And I just never wrote back for 6 months. And I let him sit there. And I was like, oh my God, he's still in my matches. But he was someone I did want to go out with. I just got distracted by someone else. And so I wrote to him and was like, would you still want to grab a drink? I didn't apologize. I was just like, hey, would you still want to grab a drink by chance? And he told me he was interested enough in me to let it go that I hadn't responded for 6 months. So he said yes. So we went out for this drink, or we went out to dinner. Turns out he has a lot of baggage, and he said, hey, did you get home okay? And it was weird because when we were on the date, he referenced a second date. So I was like, oh, we're going to have a second date. But then as soon as we left, it got really weird. He basically grabbed me a cab. I'm like, I can get an Uber, but he grabbed me a cab and just like shooed me out of there.
Pushed you into a yellow cab.
He literally pushed me into a yellow cab. And I was like, whoa, that was so weird because we were connecting so well on the date. He mentioned a second date. And so I was just like, I don't know what that was. So anyway, about a week, but he wrote saying, did you get home safe? And I said, yes, did you? Blah, blah, blah. And that was the only communication. So like 2 weeks later or so, he wrote to me basically saying, I didn't want to just leave it as silence, and this is uncomfortable for me to send. It was really great meeting you, but I don't think we're going to go out again or something.
And did you ask for a why?
And so I first of all wanted to be like, I was fine and not even thinking about it. Like, but now you rewoke it up, and now I'm insecure.
And so what did you say?
I would have rather just had the silence. So I said, okay. He said, I'm not interested. I don't think I'm ready to be dating. And he did have some traumas that he went through in his life or whatever. But I was like, okay, but you're still on the app. I was like, can you just be real with me and give me like the real deal? Like, I do this for a living. I'm out, like, just work with me here. What's the real reason you don't want to go out with me again? And I thought I said, am I doing something wrong? Am I not feminine enough? Am I too loud? Am I too quirky? Like, what was it? I'm just curious. And he wrote back the super long, well thought out message saying, out of anyone, he's like, I don't go on a lot of dates. And he said, I check Hinge every once in a great while. And he said, out of anyone on there that I wanted to go out with, it was you. And he said, and in person, and so I'm basically just kind of telling the story to flatter myself. But basically he was like, in person, like, you were funny, beautiful, you're a strong woman, you have your own business, you're interesting, you're unique. And he said, but the fact that I'm not jumping out of my chair to see you again says something about the state of mind that I'm in, because you're my type and you're what I'm looking for, but I felt nothing. And so he was like, so I need to do inner work on myself. This could be total bogus BS. And he just didn't like me.
And did that make you feel better?
It did kind of make me feel better.
I don't like that stuff. On Match.
It did make, but I would have preferred him just not say anything at all.
Well,
but then he had to come in with the Dear John letter. For me, the Dear Susan letter, or whatever we'll call it, when I was like, I forgot about you, but now you hurt my feelings by breaking up with me when we weren't even together. So, but then I just was like, you know what? I'm just going to go, instead of accepting it and being like, okay, yeah, I believe you. You don't want to date. Yeah, right. Okay, whatever. You're still on the app. So obviously you still want to date. So he was like, theoretically, I still want to date. But so he gave me the answers. They were very well written. And I think it is okay if you see a pattern when you're dating. And it's not a pattern for me. It's not like every guy I go out with doesn't want to go out with me. But I just was curious because I felt like he was lying. I felt like it was a bad excuse and it was lazy. Like, I don't want to date. It's like, okay, it's saying you don't want to go shopping, but here you are in the mall.
Well, and there you go. So and it's funny. This is I'll read to you my dating profile, and you're going to hate it. First of all, how hot am I in that picture?
I like that picture.
That's a great picture of me. This is pandemic Tom, though. And the problem is every time I pick another picture, the Bumble app keeps making that my primary picture because it thinks I'm hotter.
Yeah.
So anyway, I wrote comedian about me. Comedian, funny, kind, never married, no kids. I'm a unicorn looking for another unicorn, looking to be hit over the head. All pictures taken in 2021 and 2022. Social at Tom Kelly Show. And I used to have, you should check for red flags.
Okay. So I don't mind this that much.
Really?
I mean, it's just kind of like whatever, but I don't understand the looking to be hit over the head because it sounds almost like you're being kinky and creepy.
Oh, then let me get that out of the way.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a thought I never thought of.
That's how I would interpret that as a girl. Looking like
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I would be confused. I wouldn't know if I was right or not, but that's kind of where I
Okay,
went
we're going to get that out of the way.
first.
And then I could get the unicorn seeking unicorn because that sounds like furries.
I don't mind the unicorn seeking a unicorn.
Right.
But I would say something, you're a comedian. So the problem is if you say you're a comedian and then you don't have anything necessarily funny in your profile, then it makes her go, well, is he a funny comedian or is he someone who thinks he's a comedian? So I think it's sometimes stronger to leave out comedian but be super clever in your profile.
But here's the funny. I'm kind of in this spot. I actually don't disagree with what you're saying there. But I don't. You're right. Maybe I got to throw in a damn joke.
Just something.
Comedian looking. Actually, should I be blatantly honest? Comedian looking for dating stories, things to complain about on his podcast. Too much.
Comedian looking for more content because this is not going to work out or something.
Either love or a new joke. Okay.
Yeah, something like that. Where you're calling out the elephant in the room, which is you're a comedian, and some people might go, and some women in their heads might go, is that a stable job? Does he have a stable income? So you could.
So I used to have a comedian who had health insurance on my profile.
Yeah, so that's something that I think is better because you're calling out the fact that you're a comic. And if you have health insurance, that means you're doing well as a comic or you're doing well at least in life. I'll see guys who aren't really comics have comedian and they have nothing funny in there. And I'm like, I don't trust that he's actually a comedian. He might think, and I swipe left.
So you think go funny on the profile?
Go funny on the profile, at least in one spot. And then you've got the spots for prompts. And so usually what I recommend in the prompts, because part of my business at KristenandChill.com is not just helping guys with banter, but building their profiles. So I do profile makeovers.
And now what service is that under? Because we looked before.
That's under profile. So you would go back, you would log out or just go backwards from there.
Okay.
And so I offer profiles, coaching.
Okay.
So phone coaching, email coaching, Zoom coaching, where we're actually talking about
profiles, coaching, banter, packages. And not sure's.
Yep, not sure. Like, what do you, let's talk. What do you think you need the most help with? And we'll start from there.
Oh, my God. You have a couple of really good references here.
Yeah, so I've been involved in this world for a long time. So, like Dr. Drew knows what I do. Sex with Emily.
I've been following her since the beginning. I actually want her on the podcast, too.
Yeah, she's great. And so, I've been on her podcast. I've been on Jordan's podcast. I've done podcasts with Dr. Drew. And so they all, were nice enough to write me a testimonial or, some sort of...
Or have an intern write a testimonial for you.
Yeah. No, I actually... So Jordan taught me a lot. And actually Jordan Harbinger. He's got the Jordan Harbinger show, which has... It's kind of like a... it's a show where the guy who wrote the Titans book, the Tools of Titans... He's this kind of self-help mega...
Okay, I'll have to look that up.
He basically has all these people on his show who are at the top of their game in whatever game it is that they do. So Jordan has a show like that as well. So he has people who are just really high-value people in whatever industry they're in. So I've been on Jordan's show before, but Jordan taught me a lot about business, but it's applied to actually talking to people. So talking about sliding into DMs, people slide into his DMs all the time. I don't know if he has like 1 million Instagram followers or something, but he's got a large following. So he'll have people slide into his DMs, not in a flirtatious way. He's married and he has two babies. And so what he advises is if you're looking to, if you're intern level, or if you're not an intern level and you're just changing careers and you're looking to get in with people who are professional and doing really good things, excuse me. He said, he's like, I get so many DMs on Instagram. He said the ones that I reply to are the ones where someone knows what I need. So it shows that they've researched me, they listened to me, and they've offered something of value to me that either I don't know that I need or that I do know that I need, and they're going to do it for, a fraction of the price, something to that extent. He's like, so those people that add value, I'll reply to. And so he was saying the same thing when it comes to DMs and flirting, which I was kind of holding off from bringing up just because I didn't want to talk too much about everything. But in terms of DMs, when you slide into a girl's DMs, part of your strategy can be adding value to her. So if you follow her, it's not creepy to know what she's about because you follow her. So say, for example, the girl is into a certain type of music. You add value to her life by sliding into her DM and being like, hey, there's this, you're not looking for anything from her. You just say, hey, there's this really cool artist. I think, his music would be right up your alley. And so she might go, oh, cool, thanks. Or she might not reply at all, but you're adding value, or you're opening up an avenue for her that she doesn't know exists. So it's like if there's some sort of really cool music festival that it's kind of underground, people don't really know about, you give her that thing. And so then you're adding value to her life and maybe value to her, online content or whatever. And then conversation can grow from there. So you don't always have to go in, with just this bold confidence of, I want to go on a date with you. You can go in with something, adding value to her. So like for me, I really genuinely need my website redone. So if a guy wrote to me and was like, because I'll get business emails saying, I noticed that you're blah, 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 whatever from this computer design or internet design company. And, they're looking for money and to get new clients. I ignore all those emails. But if someone wrote to me that maybe perhaps had interest in me, but was a web designer and just said, hey, your website's shit and I want to help you with it, I'd be like, cool, yeah, let's work on this. And then if we struck up more conversation, maybe we would go on a date. Maybe it could lead to that place. It's a little bit.
I mean, now, this is, geez, we're now on to like what will be part 20 of our interview.
Yeah.
Is I have a problem, or I feel icky nowadays. And I think Me Too did this for me before. My move used to be, I'll provide value. And I have found there were a lot of girls back in the day who I would say, oh, let's podcast together. I'll do this or this for you. And in my mind, I was asking them out for a date. And let's be very clear, it was dinner first, not podcast first. So you don't feel awkward. But there would be things like that where I've had friends before on the show say, Tom, you're looking for a co-host, you're looking for this. And I found people who were looking for me for my career, not for me.
Right.
And that shattered me. I don't think I'd ever offer my HTML skills or whatever it is anymore. I don't know if that one's fair on your part.
I know what you mean. It's like it's a exchange of goods for
but going the other way, because I was taught that was wrong. Like I'd be like I'd see a pretty girl, she'd be 5 to 10 years younger than me. I'm like, hey, a friend of mine made this joke about me, and it was this, and the joke was based in the truth, but this is not what I really did. My friend said I would go, hey, do you like television? You like daytime TV? Do you want tickets to this? And it'd be like, and maybe we could hook up. I'll introduce you for an internship or whatever. And I genuinely, and the problem was I wasn't doing that, if that makes sense. And I definitely didn't like it when people I had interest in my career, because I felt like you're trying to use me for my Ferrari. Like if my career was my Ferrari,
Right.
And I know for sure you wouldn't ask for a ride in my Ferrari if you weren't trying to sleep with me. Like,
the difference is, though, the opposite person is coming at you. So
well, going both ways. So, but even if I offer it, I feel like that's an icky offer. No.
If you offer me a ride in your Ferrari,
well, let's stick with the website thing because I think that's an easy one. I call you up and say, "Hey."
You can be straightforward from the beginning. Be like, I have a crush on you. I like you, but your website sucks. So you can be straight up about it and be like, I'll work on your website. It's not in exchange for a date, but if we end up hitting it off and it ends in a date, I'd be really happy about it. So there's ways to do it that aren't like super icky, that are honest. But if she, but you do run the risk of her taking advantage of you and getting the website for free and then never going out with you. But also, it's not her responsibility to need to like you. You're the one that entered the DMs. So, yeah, I absolutely know what you're saying. But it is a strategy for, I think, career building, and like kind of that. Instead of just writing to, say, Jordan Harbinger and saying, hi, I'd really like to work for you. It's like, okay, well, what do you offer? What do you offer?
I do like your thought, though, of providing value. I don't want to. In fact, I think we've gone very far down a road of distracting from a great point.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
But I will ride in your Ferrari.
Deal. All right. On that, folks, listen. Kristen, what's the website again? I don't have it in front of me.
KristenandChill.com. It's a play on Netflix and chill.
I think, listen, I got a lot out of this. I have not done a 1 hour podcast in a year, if not two. Thank you for doing this. Would you do it again?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right.
As long as you offer me value. Am I going to get clients? I'm kidding.
Well, let's find out. And honestly, let's find out. So listen, it seems weird to do the plugs this far into a show, but listen, people, show love where love can be shown. Rate, review, share. Where are you on? You're on what? Kristen, Kriscarn on Instagram?
On Instagram,
So listen, provide her some value and tell her you heard her on the Tom Kelly Show. Until next time, show love where love can be shown. Good night, New York.